and welcome back to another episode of Geomancy for Contemporary Living with me, Faye Semple. If you're passionate about harmonizing and aligning with the energies of the land and transforming your life, you're in the right place. Before we dive into today's topic, and if you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button for the channel. And also don't forget to click the notifications bell so you never miss an episode. Your support really helps me to continue to bring you content that bridges the ancient wisdom of geomancy with contemporary living. Now, let's get started on today's topic. I had a really interesting question from somebody who emailed me about how on earth do we fit all this geomancy practice in that you're telling us, all about. Well, I just want to say, many times less is more. Geomancy involves working with the energy of the earth, and it also involves dowsing, but dowsing doesn't negate the actual thinking we have to do. We kind of use it to fine tune things, and we use it to understand the energy of our environment. And when I started out in this line of work, I was as guilty as everybody, sort of dowsing everything. And, that takes up an awful lot of our time that maybe we haven't got. So one of the best ways I can think of bringing sort of geomancy into your life on a practical daily level is actually with a morning routine. Now, many people have morning routines of meditation. They might do some journaling. They might do some yoga. But my morning routine as a geomancer is actually connecting to the guardians and keepers and spirits of the landscape. That's one of the fundamental things that I do every single morning. I also, because that way we're connecting to the earth itself, we're connecting with the elements of fire, earth and water, we're connecting with all those fields of consciousness that we can tune into, like a radio, we can tune into a particular one. So I welcome these guardians and spirits into my presence every morning, and I set my intentions for the day with them. I focus on my desired outcome for the day, because where energy goes, where focus goes, energy flows. Get it the right way around. And so that way I'm clear to them about what I want to achieve with my day and how that fits into the long-term vision of my life. Because geomancy really teaches us about the relationship we are in with the land. So we are in like a feedback loop with the land. So there's the energy of the land, and that comes around and goes into our energy, and we feed into the energy of the land, like the infinity symbol. Because when we're working with the energy of the land, we're trying to work with auspicious energy that is already present to support how we're living in that place, how we're worshipping in that place, the work we're trying to do in that place. So really, when it comes to going back in history, we were, farmer settlers. So we wanted to make sure that we were healthy, animals healthy, our crops were healthy, and we could grow enough food, make enough clothes, build enough shelter to support our tribe. Obviously, the world has moved on. And we are now living in, a modernity where we can go and buy food from the shop, pick clothes up off the shelf. We don't build our own houses. And many of us are removed from that sort of reality of sustaining our own lives. And I think in that we've kind of slightly lost something. So for me, this morning routine of tapping into these energies that are present in the landscape and saying, I may not always be growing all the food I need now, and I may not, be having to make all my own clothes, but I have gifts and talents to bring to the world. I came here with a mission. It's just that our mission is now wrapped up in a very different world. Time moves on. But this is the value I want to give to the world. So in a past life, my value I may have given to my tribe was as a swineherd, or I was the goose lady who minded the geese, or I may have made clothes, or I may have been a cobbler, or I may have been a blacksmith. That was the thing I came to give to the world. Nowadays, my gifts and talents I give differently, but that doesn't mean I don't want them to equally sustain people. So we invite the guard. My daily practice is to sit, usually fairly first thing, grab a drink, and then I'll go and find a quiet place to sit and I welcome the spirit of my home. And I set my intentions for the family to live in the home for the day, that we want it to be a safe, supportive and harmonious environment, or an environment where we can, share and have nurturing, a nurturing environment where if we're going through challenges out there in the world. So I set my intention for the home because it's the base from which I go out into the world. And then I ask the spirit and guardians, the keepers of the landscape, known and unknown, to help with me in creating the outcomes that I want to achieve that day. So I might say today in work, I've got to create a new module for the people in my course on how to work with portals in a practical way. And that's my intention for the day. So I set that intention and I visualize it being a success. I visualize it being successfully delivered to the students in my course, because those are my setting my intentions. Now, a daily routine, a morning routine is a really useful thing to have because it sets us up for success. Because so many times when we're working with energy, we can get, it's very vague. We can get feelings and insights, and we're not quite sure what they mean. If we're dowsing with energy, and we're not as well as an experienced practitioner as we'd like to be, then it can get a little bit confusing. So having some kind of way of tapping into that energy that's simple can really set us up, because so much, as I say, when we're working with energy in the landscape, we are working in this feedback system. We're working to harmonize the energy in the landscape so that our activities fit nicely within the tapestry of all life that's going on in that area. And we're tapping into the energy that can feed our activities. So we're not trying to take away from anything. We're not trying to control everything. We're not trying to really manipulate anything. We're just saying, I need to fit into the fabric and the tapestry of life in this area. And I'd like the energies of this area to support me in doing that. And that's why I say establishing our intentions for the day and setting up this morning routine is really useful, because a morning routine sets us up. It's energy alchemy for us. It helps us get clear and feel positive and feel productive, because so much of making a success in your life is an inside job, because the outside world is chaotic. It's beyond our control. Things happen. So we need to be safe and secure in ourselves. It doesn't mean that we always have everything under control, far from it, but we developed the patience and the resilience and the sovereignty and understanding of our soul's mission, so that we know that whatever rocks our boat on these shores, that we can, on these waters, that we can navigate that turbulence, that we have the skills and the resilience and the knowledge to navigate that turbulence. And then also, when we're contacting the spirits of the landscape and the nature spirits, or the spirit of even a project that we're involved in, we are letting that external energy know that this is that I want to happen, so they can go away and maneuver all the moving parts that we're not in control of to help us reach success, to help this thing come to birth, come to fruition, come to light, come to fulfillment. That's partly their role. So they are fulfilling their role, we are fulfilling our role, and we're dovetailing nicely together. It's not about controlling, it's not about manipulating, it's not about taking. Working with these, the energy of the landscape and the spirits of the landscape is all about, I say, making sure that our activities, our goals fit, they dovetail, they fit lovely with the tapestry, the rich tapestry of all the life and all the consciousness in that area. So that's my morning routine, and it doesn't take long. The one thing I would also caveat is that when we create morning routines or we have a ritual, one of the pitfalls I also fell into when I started this work was setting up, I've got to do that morning routine, or I need to do that ritual, or I need to, walk around with a chicken strapped to my head 3 times a day because someone had told me it would work, whatever it may be. But we can get caught up in doing things that we think are achieving something, but they're also not. They're filling our time and making us think that we're taking action because we're doing the journal, or we're, connecting to this, or we've, set up an altar. but we have to follow all that through with action in our lives. And if we're going through busy times, like I've been through very challenging times, or times when, you know, my daughter was younger or my son was daughter. There are times when I was in really difficult circumstances. I have to say my morning routine then was minimal, absolutely minimal. And I connected very quickly with like the spirit of my home to say, really sorry, it's got to be a quick blast because I've got stuff to get on with. Because I knew then that that was most important, was getting actual stuff done. Whereas now I'm a bit more established in what I do. I've got a bit more time. I've got the luxury of being able to take my time over it. Now that morning routine takes a little bit longer for me to do that. But that's what I would say. I would say get some kind of regular routine that doesn't take hours. It doesn't have to take up your whole day, but you can create this very simple morning routine where you can, you know, light a candle, you can have a bowl of blessed water, or you can have a lovely stone that you touch. You do what, you know, you could do smudging, like I say, with a crystal. So you're welcoming in earth, air, fire, and water. And the more you do it, the more speedier your connection gets, and also the more you get more concrete signs and symbols and synchronicity. So it's lovely when you connect, you know, you're connecting with the let's say the elements of the air, and all of a sudden the trees move and ripple on a still day and the air starts to move. It's like the elements will begin to talk back to you, but of course they don't speak language. So we have to take the signs, the synchronicities, the cues in nature, animals turning up, you know, feathers appearing, you know, I say sudden changes, sudden shifts in the natural world that are just something different. And that is nature speaking to us. We're talking about subtle and ineffable experiences. So they're not defined. They're unique to us. They're something that we feel. You know, an ineffable experience is an ineffable experience. That's why it's called ineffable. We can't describe it. We can experience it, but we can't describe it. And I think connecting as a morning routine with the spirit of your home or the spirit of place, guardians and keepers of the landscape, known and unknown, however you want to conceptualize them, opens us up to having ineffable experiences first thing in the morning. It sets the tone for our day. It says, I welcome this kind of spiritual connection with my landscape, with the beings that share my space, because I want to ensure that my life enhances the tapestry of life and consciousness in this area and doesn't ride roughshod over it or doesn't take. But I want the things that I'm doing to enhance the area, to add to the quality and the value of human life and all life. That's what I intend to bring. So setting that intention every morning sets the tone for our day, it sets the tone for our life, and it sets our tone for the actions that we want to take every day. So that's what I wanted to share. So it doesn't mean we have to douse every little mortal thing that happens in our life. There are certain things that we do want to douse, you know, initially, like an energy map of our home. We want to check that seasonally. But as a simple daily practice, that would be the one that I would heartily recommend, is just welcoming in the spirit of your home every morning, welcoming the spirit of place, if you'd rather do a wider area, or if you'd rather frame it as welcoming the guardians and keepers of the landscape, known and unknown. The wording is what you are comfortable with, how you conceptualize these things in your own mind so that it makes sense to you. But that, I think, has been one of the best practices that I have, because then it helps me with me writing my journal. I find things coming through. I get a better flow of energy. I get a better concentration because I've set my intentions with these helpers, these invisible helpers that says, this is what I want to achieve today. And then they can help, but they can't help if they don't know what we want. And this is why opening up that channel of communication with a regular morning routine can be so, so helpful. So if you've got a morning routine, you know, I'd love to hear from you. What do you do in the mornings? But as a geomancer who loves connecting to earth energy and the landscape, that is mine, and it has served me very well. But I'd love to hear what you do, whether you have a morning routine or not. Do you think it's valuable or not? And as I say, don't beat yourself up if you haven't got one. And it doesn't really matter if it's really super quick, but just some kind of connection, because life gets hectic. You can take longer of it when you've got more time. Thanks very much for joining me, and I will see you all next time.